Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. God is dividing because of what Christ has done to me, for me, because he's saved me from my sins. I've moved into his grace, his goodness. I've woken up to the reality of what he's done for me. And I didn't realize how much of a spiritual struggle. I did not realize how much conflict comes because Christ has chosen me and I've responded to him. And maybe this is our first lesson here in the morning. Watch. I think it'll be on the screen. But if you could receive this truth or maybe the lesson. Listen, division is not the goal of Jesus' ministry, but division is the consequence of his message. It's a consequence of what Christ says. I like to quote that Old Testament verse of Joshua 24:15. Choose this day who you're going to serve. Joshua was speaking to those that, the younger generation that they came out of the Exodus. They knew what their parents went through. They knew that their parents and their grandparents, they died in the wilderness. And even though they were into conquest, into new territory, and new things were happening within their life, the tendency of man is to drift from the reality, from the message of the cross, the goodness of what God has done for us. But the goal of Jesus' ministry for all people in all times is to bring us to the love of God. But for those that reject, again, the foolish ones, this is bad news, man. To reject the message of the cross, it leaves no future hope that is there. Why? Because the cross is not neutral. You must decide. You're either for the Lord or you're not. But to be undecided is to be decided. We can't live in this place of neutrality. I'm just going to be neutral on this thing and just see what it looks like as I go through my life. Listen, the more that you hear the gospel message and the more that you hear the way that God has pointed for his followers, for the church to walk, the more you hear it and you do nothing with it, the more you harden your heart. The truth heard but not respond to, we end up with a hardened heart. And that speaks of Christians, because we can get so settled into the things around us. Think about how we become quickly desensitized. Watch. Whether it's the simple things of daily life. It's like, hey, the day's over. I want to kick it at home. I want to sit down, maybe turn on the TV, watch something. And even when we try to have the best viewing things possible, there are always those little just Satan is just always intruding, and we wrestle within our conscience, and then we just learn to deal with it, and then we just go on, and the next thing you know, we become so desensitized to the things we hear, to the things that we see. We might be irritated a little bit about it at first, but then we just let it ride. Listen, the truth of the gospel is that God is forcing a decision. And the decision here, as it pertains to receiving his grace or not, it results in division. For those that reject the grace and those that have received the grace, that there's a dividing that is going on. God is doing that. This is what Jesus speaks about in Matthew chapter 10. Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. God is dividing.